All right, good evening. This is the September 3rd, 2025 Cottage Grove City Council meeting, which I'm calling to order. One thing I'll just mention real quick is this meeting is being recorded by True Lens Community Media. You can view city meetings live and replay them, on cable channel 799. And the meetings are also streamed live and archived on the City of Cottage Grove's YouTube channel. So if you're interested in seeing past council meetings and such, you can do it there. So the next thing on our agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please do the roll?
Councilmember Clausen?
Here.
Councilmember Olson?
Here.
Councilmember Thede?
Here.
Councilmember Garza? Here. Mayor Bailey?
Here. Next on our agenda here is open forum. This is the opportunity for anybody who wants to speak on anything that's not on tonight's agenda is welcome to do so. We did have a sign-up sheet out in the entryway, and we did have Megan Voice, who has signed up. And so if you want to come up and you can share some information with us and just state your name and address for the record, please. And welcome.
Right. Hello, my name is Megan Voiles. I live at 7278 97th Street South in Cottage Grove. And I would like to invite all of the council members and the mayor and anyone else in Cottage Grove to the Working Families Picnic that is going to be hosted at Vermilion Falls Park on September 20th in Hastings. It's getting put on by the Senate District 41 DFL. We're going to have food and games and resources for families there. We're going to be having a food drive for the Hastings Family Services. So if you'd like to bring a donation, feel free. And yeah, we just hope to have a fun time with everyone and get the word out for the picnic. So.
Fantastic. And if I see right, it's from 11 to 3 at Vermilion Falls Park, and that's 214 21st Street East in Hastings.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that with us. Perfect. All right, was there anybody else that wants to speak on anything that's not on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the open forum part of the meeting, and we'll move to adoption of the agenda.
Move the agenda.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Thede, second by Councilmember Olson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 6 is presentations. We do have one this evening, and it is the reading of the Hispanic Heritage Month Proclamation. So I did ask Councilmember Clausen to read, I should say, the proclamation, and then once he's done, I'll look him to make the motion and then get a second. So we'll kick it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is a proclamation honoring Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas the United States of America is a nation built by the contributions of people from diverse backgrounds, and the Hispanic community has played a vital role in shaping our country's history, culture, and achievements. And whereas the Hispanic community has had a profound influence on our country through their strong commitment to family, faith, hard work, and service, and they have enhanced and shaped our national heritage with centuries-old traditions that reflect the multi-ethnic and multicultural customs of their community. And whereas the period from September 15th to October 15th is designated as National Hispanic Heritage Month to celebrate the histories, cultures, contributions of Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. And whereas this month-long celebration begins on September 15th, a significant date that marks the independence anniversaries of 5 Latin American countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, and includes Mexico's Independence Day on September 16th, Chile's Independence Day on September 18th, and Belize's Independence Day on September 21st. And whereas we recognize and honor the many ways that the Hispanic culture has enriched the fabric of our society while also redirecting ourselves to address the lack of equal access to opportunity that that many still face. And whereas the city of Cottage Grove is proud to honor the history and contributions of the Hispanic community here and throughout our state and nation. Now therefore, the mayor and city council of the city of Cottage Grove, county of Washington, state of Minnesota hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as Hispanic Heritage Month. And Mayor, I would so move that we accept that.
All right, so first of all, thank you for reading it, and I'll take your motion from Councilmember Clausen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Garza. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Again, thank you for reading that. All right, next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anything council wants to pull on tonight's consent for separate discussion? All right, so then I guess I'll look for a motion to approve consent.
Go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve consent.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Garza. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Olson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So if you're here or watching for anything on tonight's consent agenda, all of those items have been approved. 8 is approved disbursement. 8A is to pay the bills.
Move the bills.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Olson, second by Councilmember Thiede. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to number 9, which is a public hearing, which we do have this evening, and this is the Frattalone Southpoint Ridge easement vacation and new easements, and that's Roers. And Samantha Pirette, our senior planner, is going to walk us through this one. And we've seen a lot of this over the years.
All right. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, I am bringing to you various easement vacations for the Roers property as they intend to proceed to a closing date with the city and with Southpoint Ridge on September 30th of this year. So in order to replat the property as the Camel's Hump Addition, which was approved by this body back in early 2024. We have various easements that do need to be vacated, including drainage and utility easements, a trail easement, and a pond access easement. That is the reason why we need to have this public hearing to vacate these easements tonight. In conjunction with the Roers project, they do need to construct a very large retaining wall around the east and north sides of the property. So they will need temporary construction easements from the city to get their materials and their people onto the property to construct this retaining wall. There will also be some structural components such as soil nails that need to permanently remain crossing onto the city's property, so a permanent retaining wall easement is also necessary. With that, there are 4 items for you on the screen tonight, and I would stand for any questions if you had any.
Council, first, any questions for Samantha at all? All right, again, I know we've seen this. This is more of a formality piece, but I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this item this evening? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll have to do the 2, 3, and 4. So if somebody from council would like to do number 2.
I'll go ahead and move that we adopt Resolution 2025-119, vacating, rescinding, terminating, and releasing certain easements over lots 3 and 4, Block 1, and outlots A, C, and D, Frattalone's Southpoint Ridge.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Thiede. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Garza. Any questions, council? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Who would like to do number 3?
I'll take number 3. To approve the establishment of a temporary construction easement for a retaining wall.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Garza. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Clausen. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, number 4 there.
I'll take number 4. Move to approve the establishment of a permanent retaining wall easement.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Clausen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Olson. Any further discussion? The only thing, and don't freak out, this is just more of a question or a comment for our staff. Now that it appears that we're getting to the point where they're actually gonna build this thing, I would recommend that, I don't know if we're gonna do not a neighborhood meeting, but an update for the seniors at the legends. That, this was a big question that they had, is what's going on with it. So just want to mention that so we can maybe set something. I'd be happy to go over and speak to them so they know what's going on. Okay? All right, any other comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Samantha. All right, 10 is bid awards. We have none this evening. 11 is the regular agenda, and we do have two items. The first one is to adopt the preliminary property tax levy. And Brenda Malinowski, our finance director, is going to take us through this. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, before you set the preliminary property tax levy for 2026, I do have a short presentation. This first slide is just to remind City Council that while this is the first time that you have seen me here in this room working on the budget, as you know, you've been working on it throughout the year. You started in January, hit a budget workshop in April, did council workshops in August, or I'm sorry, in July, did a follow-up budget workshop in August, and here we are this evening. My thank you to City Council on the hours that you put in this year as you determined the budget and the property tax levy. My thanks to our department directors, their teams, as they combed through all the data, gave you accurate information so that you can make the decisions for that property tax levy that's in front of you. As you can see, tonight we're not done in the process. We'll certify that to Washington County, that preliminary property tax levy. They will use it to prepare property tax statements for each individual taxpayer in the city of Cottage Grove. They'll mail those out in November. On that property tax statement, it'll show them the impact of their property taxes for next year. If they have any questions or comments, they will come on December 3rd to the City Council meeting where you will receive those budget comments before you set that final property tax levy. With the property tax levy that is in front of you, there are several budget accomplishments that I wanted to outline. First is that we are able to provide the same exceptional level of services to our communities to our community as we have in the past. Second, we're demonstrating our stewardship of capital assets by including the replacement of them, whether it's equipment or city infrastructure such as pavement management. Those items were either identified in our financial management plan or our capital improvement plan. We are positioned to respond to changes in the economy amid economic uncertainty. We are maintaining to be that distinction of employer of choice. And then we are meeting our debt service requirements. When we've issued debt in the past for pavement management or new buildings, street improvements, with that comes a principal and interest payment that's due each year, just like a mortgage. In 2026, those debt service requirements to pay those debt is included in the property tax levy in front of you. A little detail on the property tax levy. You're going to want to concentrate on the middle column or the 2026 proposed property tax levy. It's at $29,885,000 for the city of Cottage Grove portion. Specifically, the first line is our general fund levy. It is increasing 9.76%, since 71% of that general fund or operating budget funds personnel and salaries. That is based on settled union contracts for 2026 for our unions. We are including an EMS levy for the first time to fund operating costs at $70,000. Our equipment levy, when we did the 10-year financial management plan, we have about $2 million in equipment that needs to be funded each year. So we're starting to increase that levy gradually in order to fund those equipment needs so that we're not keep delaying those equipment replacement needs. And then our municipal building levy is increasing $150,000. There was a facility maintenance study for the next 10 years. That was done for the Public Safety City Hall and Central Fire Station. This is just starting to fund those known costs that will be coming up. So instead of increasing the levy by $1 million in a couple of years to fund some equipment that needs to be replaced attached to a building, whether it's heating, cooling, we're starting to increase that gradually. The EDA levy has a $50,000 increase. That is to start to fund all the current year operating costs in the EDA, and that was identified in the financial management plan. In the park capital levy, that is funding those current operating costs to replace in our existing parks or our future parks as we identified in the FMP. And then our debt levy, I had already alluded to it, that when we issue debt, we need to pay those principal and interest payments. And so that is in order to maintain our AAA bond rating, we need to pay the debt that we've issued. With that, we want to know the impact then to our property taxpayers. And so there's two components of it. The first we just talked about, our property tax levy, and so that is on our green line showing that history since 2015. And then importantly too, our tax capacity. So as we've grown or as our existing properties have increased in value, that tax capacity increases. And so in that blue bar, that's showing that trend line. If we take those two components and we divide them, we get to our city tax rate. And here's our history. So based on the preliminary property tax levy that's in front of you, we're at about 40.294%. If we take that and apply it to our median home, the impact in taxes for 2026 is $1,434. That median home increased in value by about 3.39% between 25 and 26. And so based on that city tax rate, they would pay $1,434. That city property tax change is about $152. When we did the 10-year financial management plan, with putting in all the current future operating costs in the city, all the current debt, all the future debt for street projects, capital improvements, street projects, we needed about a $100 increase per year on our median home. However, we needed a $110 increase the first year. So the first year that we operated on it was 2024. And so there we have an increase of $71, 2025, $85 increase. This year, the 152. So in total, we're at 308. The financial management plan would say we needed to be 310, so we're just below that, or the average of $102.67. The monthly cost for that median home will be about $119.50 for 2026, or a daily cost of $3.92, or an increase of 41 cents per day. This slide here, we do not have it updated for 2026 because while we're adopting our preliminary levy tonight, the other cities are still working through their numbers. But what we do know is that last year, our median home was that $1,282. So based on the preliminary levy in front of you, we would go to $1,434. We may jump up as it would appear on this slide, ahead of two other communities in Washington County. I do not believe that will be true. As I'm looking at other levies out there, other cities are looking at double digits. Also, they're no different than the things that we are seeing as we balanced our budget this year. They're having to do the same thing. And one of these communities, I did look at their median home, and it is increasing for next year. What they're predicting is $143, so not very far behind us. And so the other thing to remember is for those other two communities, if they had a 0% property tax levy increase and their tax capacity stayed at 0, and their median home stayed at the same, that's how they would experience that $1,350. So we believe that's not going to be true, and so we believe that will be favorable with that. And then my last slide here is just letting you know that on that median home, if they did pay us the $119.50, where that would go to. So we would send $53.83 to public safety to fund police, fire, emergency management, and now EMS. $19.38 would go to Public Works for our streets, our snow plowing. $12.85 to Parks and Recreation for parks, trails, facilities, recreation activities. $17.93 to pay that debt service for that debt we've issued in the past. $12.07 for general government to operate the city. $1.31 for economic development, HRA. $2.07 for contingency so that we can react if anything unexpected happens in 2026. And then a small portion would go to community development. A large part of their budget is funded with building permit revenue, and so they have a smaller portion that would go to them. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, before I kick it over to council, I just want to say thank you to staff, all of our department heads, and all of our members. Obviously, every year we go through the budget cycle, and we literally figuratively nickel and dime things to try to get as close as we can to things. I did have an opportunity to speak with a neighbor next door to, or a mayor next door to us earlier this evening, and they're on that slide there, and yes, they're saying that they're gonna have their highest increase they've ever seen in their community. So it's sad, but it's a reality with inflation and some of the things that are happening out there that's causing some of these, I'll say unfortunate increases, but we still need to do the business of the people and make sure that we have the right equipment and the people to do, to operate that equipment. So I just want to say thank you again for a job well done this year before we go to vote. Council, is there any questions that you have for staff at this point? Yeah, Councilmember Thiede.
So I just want to make a couple comments. We did have the financial management plan, and if you take the averages, it does come down and almost to that 100, per year for the average home. And I must say, you guys do a good job, because the last 2 years, the preliminary and what we had expected was higher than what it actually came out to. And so I'm kind of maybe hoping that we're able to bring that 152 down a little bit from the actual and everything, but it's still on the taxes. And so, and again, if we have a financial management plan, we want to try to definitely follow it and so forth. And so I have made a request that we kind of look at our financial management plan and just assess its performance and what its makeup and so forth at our strategic planning in January. And I think we've agreed to do that. Everybody that's not involved in the budget meetings, it is quite a ordeal. It's a constant thing of trying to look at, well, there's not an unlimited supply of funds, and we have to have, definitely trying to maximize the value to the residents, and trying to keep the costs as low as possible, because we're not the only thing in the taxes, and everything that goes up just a little bit adds up. You get 5, 10 little things, they come all of a sudden big thing, right? But so reluctantly, I kind of, we still probably got one of the best deals in the county, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep trying to keep it as low as possible. And so it is a little bit of an exhausting process every year, but everybody does a good job at it. And so hoping that maybe, maybe even in December, when we actually do the final one, it could change a little bit or something like that, because we can come down a little bit. We can't go up anymore. But so at any rate, I guess that's my piece, I guess.
Sounds good. And did you, Councilmember Wilson, did you say you had something you want to say?
I do. First of all, Brenda, thank you for the presentation. I particularly like the slide that shows per month where our taxes go. And when I say our, I do truly mean ours, because every one of us sitting here is a taxpayer in the city of Cottage Grove. And so as we work through this budget process, you know, it has a direct impact on us and our families as much as it does anybody else. But this year was particularly challenging because, as you mentioned during your presentation, there's quite a bit of economic uncertainty right now, especially as it relates to costs of goods based on tariffs and things. And I'm really proud of the work that all the department heads and the staff and all of the members of, you know, the finance team and administration did. As Dave mentioned, when we go through this process, it's extremely rigorous, and unfortunately, you guys all have to listen to us ask a million different questions about different things and try to come up with answers. And you know, we revisit the same topic time and time again, and this year I think was double tough because of the economic conditions that we're working through. But as was stated, you know, this budget is very much in keeping with the responses that we received on our Polko Community Survey earlier this year. And I was grateful to have that information from the survey when we went to talk about the budget, because it told us what our residents really truly want us to invest in, public safety right at the very top. And we did that. Equipment, something that unfortunately we've had to set aside on occasion. We took care of that this year to a large degree, and we planned for taking care of more of it next year to a large degree, and I think that was long overdue. I'm also grateful that we were able to invest in significant infrastructure, and that doesn't just mean stuff that we're paying for right now, but it also means the building that we're sitting in, the fire station, the water treatment plants, all things that go to serve our residents. And I guess the biggest takeaway for me is not only did we maintain the high level of city services that our residents deserve, but I think we also enhanced those in many respects. And again, all the credit goes to the staff and the finance team and administration for indulging us with all of our questions and taking all the information that we provide and trying to put a budget together that serves many masters. And you guys did a fantastic job. We kept it within the scope of our financial management plan on average, which I agree, Dave, we need to revisit, because as times change, sometimes our plans need to change. And we experienced that this year, so I'm glad that we're going to do that in January. But truly, hats off to everybody who worked on this process, and I'm grateful that that we landed where we did. Hopefully, we've set the city up for success, not just in the short term, but in the long term. So thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, council, at this point? All right, so you can see before you is a recommendation for
Mayor, I'll
adoption.
move Resolution 2025-121, adopting the preliminary 2025 property tax levy collectible in 2026.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Olson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Clausen. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council, for all the hard work. And again, thank you to staff for the many hours of getting us to where we're at today. All right, next on our regular agenda is B, which is the hazardous building demolition, 8274 Hemingway Avenue South, and this is a new one for us. And so I'm going to first kick it over to our city attorney, Corey Land, and I think she's got a guest that's going to present to us here. So go ahead.
Your Honor, as you know, I'd love to take credit for absolutely everything you see on your agenda that I've reviewed and presented to you, but I have a team of people that help review everything and make me look good as I sit before you. You've met some of those people. I think Aaron Price has sat in this chair on a couple of occasions. He does a fantastic job reviewing most of the contracts that come, the routine contracts that come on your council agendas. You met Cynthia Kirkhoff, I think a month ago. She had to sub for me. She's a new attorney that we hired, has about 15 years of experience being a city attorney. So she's ripe and is ready to pinch hit for me whenever I need her, which is great. And this is another member of the team back at the office that practices in our municipal practice group, Matt Zebarth. He joined us about 1.5 years ago, and he's been a wonderful addition. He comes from a family of public service. His dad is a council member in Cambridge, and so he grew up, as you know, this doesn't stay just in this room. It goes home with you. And so he grew up hearing about all of the things that cities deal with. So he took special interest in municipal law, which I am absolutely honing in on and trying to take advantage of as much as I can. So he presented this, or prepared this material before you tonight. As you said, this is a new one for you. You typically don't deal with hazardous building and structures and having to address them in such a drastic way. So I'll let Matt present for you.
Good evening, members of council. As Corey discussed, we're going to talk about the hazardous building and the steps to demolish it at 8274 Hemingway Avenue South. So briefly, the city has statutory authority to require a property owner to demolish, raise, or remove a hazardous building under Minnesota Statutes Chapter 463. As Corey said, this is a very extraordinary remedy. Most of the time, buildings and conditions like this, the owner works with the city to develop a plan and to bring the property back into a state of compliance. The property before you tonight is an extraordinary situation, as we'll discuss. So briefly, the process for obtaining relief under Chapter 463 starts with the building official report. So members of city staff will prepare findings of fact and a report about the status of the building, their recommendation, and the facts that support it. So the packet that you all have in front of you constitutes this official report. After the official report is presented to members of council, you'll vote to adopt a resolution and an order which orders the property owner to demolish, raise, and remove the hazardous building. We've given the property owner 30 days in the resolution and order. So by October 3rd is the date, the deadline the city will set for the property owner themselves to remove, razz, or otherwise demolish the property. Under statute, the owner has 20 days to respond. So that gives the owner 20 days to respond, and then 10 days if they choose to respond, to work with city staff or our office to come up with a solution were they to be in contact. And if the owner does respond, the case takes on a general litigation at a district court. So you've got discovery, hearings, a trial. So if the owner were to respond, we would come back in front of council to fill you guys in on the update, the timeline, and then obviously litigation can be sometimes a little bit cost prohibitive. So we'd be able to present that as well for council approval before beginning a case. However, based off of past experience with this owner, and generally when a 463 action is brought, if the owner does not respond, we will then move to the district court seeking a default judgment, which allows the city then to begin the process of destroying and removing the hazardous building without owner compliance. So then the city does the work, so works with a demolition contractor, gets a bid, and then completes the demolition at the property. And then the city can assess the costs of that demolition against the property as a special assessment under Minnesota Statutes Chapter 429. I think it's important to say that the costs until today are not assessable, but from today going forward, those costs will be assessable against the property. And so the property is located at 8274 Hemingway Avenue. This is a picture that city staff took on the inspection of the property in April of 2024. And because of the state of the property from the exterior, they were able to get a look into the interior of the property to assess any issues that were inside. This is a vacant house. It's owned by Jeffrey S. Brown. And as I mentioned, beginning in 2019 and through 2024, staff was inspecting the property and working with the property owner, attempting to remedy the situations and the hazardous conditions that were located on the property. Around 2022, the owner became non-responsive, and to date, the city has not been in contact with the owner. On April 17th of 2024, city staff inspected the property, and the building official posted a hazardous building notice on the property that it was not suitable for human occupancy. The property has deteriorated to a point of complete disrepair. And so city staff, in our opinion, would be that the cost to bring the property back into compliance with building code would far exceed the value of the property itself. So from city staff's inspection, here is a look into the interior of the home. As you can see, there is the interior being exposed to the elements. So you have, various debris, leaves, refuse that have blown into the property. And again, this kind of shows the state and the condition of the building after being exposed to the environment. This is a view of the interior from the front door. So because the entrance to the property had got to a state of disrepair to this level, you were able to see the interior of the property without having to step foot in and risk the public health and safety and the safety of city staff to complete the inspection. This is a look into the interior of the house. And as you can see, the ceiling has completely collapsed, and there is a spread of black mold in the home, which is a large threat to public health, safety, welfare. This is another look into that room. As you can see, the whole ceiling foundation has collapsed, and the wall has come out, so you can see right there that it's exposed to the exterior elements. There's another picture showing the spread of the black mold throughout the property, and again, posing a risk to public health. Now this is the look inside the garage. As you can see, the garage roof has collapsed, and there are various exposed wires and other aspects that create a severe risk for public safety. I think this is a good point to talk about the current condition as well. So city staff turned off water at the curb to the property. Around 2023, there was a water usage spike, which usually indicates that a pipe had burst. So they cut water off at the curb, and so in the current state, there's no water to the house, which is unsuitable for human occupancy. As you can kind of see in this, there are exposed electrical wiring at the property, and in combination with that, and if there's a rodent infestation, some gnawing on the electrical wires, the risk to the public safety is great for an electrical fire, again, making the property unsuitable for human condition. There's a better look there at the roof collapsing. So in front of you tonight, again, is that resolution and order. And so it is our recommendation that the council approve resolution 2025134 and order to the property owner to correct or remove the hazardous building at 8274 Hemingway Avenue.
All right, thank you. And good job on the presentation.
Thank you. And if you have any questions.
Yeah, council, do you have any
by all
questions
means.
for Matt? I'll start down here then. Councilmember Clausen.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah.
This property, the city became aware of it back, did I understand as early as 2019 with some
Yes.
problems? And we started to
Yes.
work with the owner, and then the owner's just ghosting us now. Does that sound right? We don't know where the owner is. We've tried to contact them.
That's correct, council member. The last time we attempted to contact them was when the condemnation notice that the building was uninhabitable. Notice was sent to the last known address. That notice was returned to sender. And at this point, the city has not been able to locate the owner. So that started around 2023, and then, yes, continuing to today, have not been able to contact or locate the owner.
Thank you. It sounds like we've done our due diligence there. More so, yeah, thank you.
Councilmember,
Go ahead, Dave.
Councilmember
I was
Thiede.
just curious in terms of the process. So if this guy is ghosting us and we demolish it and we pay all this money to do it and put it into, assess it to the property, but he's not around, then what, the property goes into default and somebody pays, I'm curious at how do we get our money back?
Yes, council member. So the way that would work is it would be a special assessment to property tax. And then if the owner does not pay property taxes after a few years, it goes into tax default. We pulled title and there's no mortgage holder or lien holder on the property. So we would be second in line to the county for back property taxes. And then if, the sheriff or the county offers it up for sale, the buyer would then have to pay us and the county property taxes before assuming control of the property.
Was that it for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Monique.
Councilmember Garza.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. How far behind are they on their property taxes?
I believe at this point, 2024 was unpaid, but 2023 was paid. And then 2025 to date, obviously, I do not believe was paid at either.
Thank you. I only asked because if we haven't heard from them in a couple of years, but they're current on their property taxes, it just makes me wonder where we're getting the payment for the property tax from. So,
Yeah, I believe the last payment was at the last known address that the city attempted to serve that was returned. So a little bit, difficult to locate.
Okay.
thank you.
Councilmember Olson.
Thank you very much. Nice presentation. Well done. It's unfortunate that these situations do come up periodically, pretty rare. I'm real familiar with this one because we have been working with the property owner, attempting to work with the property owner for going on 6 years now. And, unfortunately, we are where we are. I wanted to simply ask this. Should we mitigate the issues at the property in some way, shape, or form? And again, we can't get a hold of the property owner. You mentioned it goes onto the tax rolls, those kinds of things. Would there be an opportunity for somebody to potentially step in and acquire the land? Obviously, there's no bank involved here, so it's not going to be a bank-owned property. But sometimes there are investors who will step in and they'll scrape the site clean and they'll want to build something else, or even our EDA on occasion will get involved in things like this. I'm just curious, at what point do folks have the ability to maybe acquire this as opposed to having it just sit there empty? You're looking at Corey,
Yep,
which is
Your
good.
Honor, members of the council, so without actually knowing where the owner is, there's no way to obviously negotiate with them for purchasing the property. So it would have to go tax forfeit by the county. What the county does whenever they take property tax forfeit is they offer it up to the city first.
I see.
So we would be first in line to have the option, whether we wanted to purchase it and then, resell it. I would recommend that the EDA be involved at that
Right.
point, but obviously, this is all farther down the line.
Right, and the reason I asked the question is, Councilmember Thiede mentioned, how do we recapture if we have to mitigate issues? And I think that's one of the ways that may exist in the future, but obviously I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but this is one of those things where the law does stipulate certain avenues for municipalities and or counties to recapture some of that expense. And I'm grateful for the answer because I know that in past experiences with properties like this, that often is what comes to pass. So thank you very much.
Of course.
So, thank you. Only one comment, and I know Corey and I were speaking before the meeting started on this topic, is this obviously took a long time to get to this part, and I literally do remember the first phone call I got from a neighbor about this house, and then went over there and met with the owner. And I know our staff tried to work with them to figure out even getting different financing options and things like that to help them get the things done, but obviously none of that happened. My only question, this is maybe looking forward from this point, is there an opportunity in the future to not have it go this long? Because we're talking 19 and we're in 2025, and maybe by Christmas, the house will be, bulldozed, if you will. And I'm almost wondering, to a certain extent, just to be honest with you, is that if we had been able to really push harder at the beginning, maybe we won't be tearing the house down, if you know what I mean.
Certainly, Your Honor, members of the council, as you know, our staff is amazing, always has been. The code enforcement staff tries to work with every property owner on their own schedule. Every property owner has a different reason, excuse sometimes, but explanation as to why things are taking longer. And so city staff did every effort to try to get the property owner to voluntarily comply. At some point, they fell off the radar. And once there was no communication, then city staff sort of felt handcuffed on, how do I get them to comply if I can't even find them? And so then when the property began to deteriorate to such an extent is when they got our office involved. And so we recommended the 463 action, which again is not something that the city is familiar with,
Right.
fortunately, but is a tool in your toolbox. So we will, I think now, maybe recognize the symptoms earlier. This was sort of a very long test case. But they've definitely, I think, will now be able to recognize when things are kind of spiraling out of control that we need to get more drastic measures involved.
Perfect. And I guess in the end, though, I think all the neighbors around here in that particular area are going to be, I think, happy in the outcome, but they're going to question it, just like I asked, is why it took so long. So, okay, thank you. Council, any other questions for Matthew? Thank you for presenting.
Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution number 2025-134, which is a resolution in order to correct or remove the hazardous building at 8274 Hemingway Avenue South in Cottage Grove, Minnesota.
All right,
Second.
so a motion by Councilmember Olson, second by Councilmember Thiede. Any other discussion, council? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the neighbors will be grateful.
Oh, yes, they will. All right, number 12 is council comments or requests. I will start with Councilmember Clausen, if you'd like to.
Thanks. Just one little thing to make note of is the Public Works and Parks Department open house coming up September 25th. It's 3 weeks down the way. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, Councilmember Thiede, I think we've got about 280 days until Strawberry Fest starts
Yeah.
again. We're looking forward to your updates.
Not that anybody's counting.
Counting, but,
Yeah.
all right, thank you, that's all.
Did you two kind of put that together? I don't know.
No, that's great.
I think you found a partner down here, baby. I don't know. Oh, now you're in trouble.
They're always
Now you're in
looking for
trouble.
volunteers.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you. Councilmember Olson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention that we've turned the corner from August into September, which you can probably tell if you walk outside, you can feel the little bit of cooler weather, et cetera. September is an important month because it is Suicide Prevention Month. And Suicide Prevention Month, as declared by the National Alliance of Mental Illness, is a month when we try to better understand the role mental illness plays in our society, and we all have, friends, family members, neighbors, et cetera, who sometimes are challenged with mental illness-related issues, and what some of the warning signs are that those issues may be getting out of control. I think it's important for people to understand that whenever there's a sign that somebody's not okay, it's important to intervene in some way, shape, or form. And one of the things I'm very proud of as a city council member and just as a resident of this community is something that Brenda mentioned in her presentation, which is our desire to be an employer of choice here in the city of Cottage Grove. And one of the things that makes us that employer of choice is the fact that we truly care about the health and well-being of every member of the team here in the city. And we've actually taken action to demonstrate that we care about their health, particularly their mental health. So I'm going to turn the conversation over to our city administrator briefly here. I had asked Jennifer prior to the meeting if she could articulate some of the things that we do here in the city as an employer for our employees as it relates to ensuring that their mental health is doing okay and that they're able to, feel good about the things that are going on in their life and coming to work and doing a great job. So Jennifer, would you mind articulating some of the tools and programs we have in place?
Sure. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. At the City of Cottage Grove, we know our employees, we think of them as a whole being, right? And so when we think about their mental health, we know that there are a lot of challenges that they face. I'm sure as you sit up there, you can think through them, from childcare, elderly parent care. There can be challenges financially, legally. All of those services we provide through our employee assistance program 24/7. But I think as Councilmember Olson pointed out, we train our managers to look for those signs of mental health, right? So our managers know our employees, they know what they're going through, where the challenges are, and where they can step in. And so we aren't just providing, 3 appointments for counseling services. We're providing more extensive, we're providing more emergency relief for those employees that are facing those mental health challenges. When we look at our police and fire, we get the neck up checks annually. And, one of the things that we always talk about is we want to send those employees back to their family whole. And so even when we look at the debriefs from critical incidents that they respond to, we are trying to service and provide the best mental health care for them. And so that's really important to us. And so when we say we're an employer of choice, it's not just something we put on our strategic plan, it's something we actually live out. And all of our managers are trained to look at those symptoms and signs. And I will say we go above and beyond to provide those counseling services for our employees.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. And, I'm particularly happy that you mentioned the neck-up checkups for public safety. Some of those folks deal with some pretty ugly things. They see things that, they signed up for, but it still isn't easy. And they have to process those sorts of things, and it's not always as simple as you might think it is. So, training our leaders to recognize signs where somebody might not be okay, and actually having coworkers do buddy checks and things, and providing a resource should they need it. And I believe that resource is provided with anonymity, so they can plug into that resource without any sort of stigma attached to it. That's a really big deal, and that's not something that everybody does. So proud of the team for doing that, and as I said, it was mentioned in the budget, that's one of those things that our taxpayer dollars go to fund, and as far as I'm concerned, it's money well spent. So for those out there who may know of somebody who's challenged right now with some sort of mental illness, or they're just going through a tough spot, help is always available. It's always available. You can call or you can text 988. There are resources through the Youth Service Bureau. I know our Beyond the Yellow Ribbon team works with a lot of different resources for military families and veterans. The key here is start the conversation. Start the conversation. Don't be afraid to ask the question. And more importantly, really listen to the answer, because your intervention could save a life. That's a fact. So thanks for the time talking about that, Mayor. It strikes a little close to home with some of the challenges that we've seen even in our own community over the last several months. And I thought it was important for people to understand that we as a city take this very seriously with our staff, and we want people to know that there is help.
Thank you, Councilmember Olson. Councilmember Thiede?
Yeah, I'm good tonight. I don't have anything.
Okay. Councilmember Garza?
Leave me with all the event announcements, okay.
There you go.
Well, just because the summer is coming to an end does not mean that Cottage Grove is coming to an end with events. So we have a lot of events still happening in the city. Most importantly, food, right? It's always about food. So we still have Food Truck Thursdays here at the City Hall, and that's between 11:30 and 1:30 on Thursdays. I think there's a few weeks of that left. And doubling up on that on Thursdays as well, we still have the Cottage Grove Farmers Market. So that's going for a few more weeks as well. That starts 2:30 to 6 on Thursday. So still some fun things happening. Of course, the Food Truck Festival, that's right around the corner. That's an all-day thing at Kingston Park from 11 to 6, but prior to that is our Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Walk, Run, and Ruck that we've talked about quite a bit over the last few weeks. And then we also have a Public Works open house that is coming up the end of September. So the month of September is very, very busy here in Cottage Grove. So the summer may be going away, but fall is just beginning, and we have a lot of fun to happen. So thank you, Mayor.
Awesome, thank you. All right, last thing, I just have one quick question. I'm going to just throw this at staff. I don't need an answer tonight, but I've had just recently, well, I'm going to back up for a second. A couple weeks ago, the council, with the help of staff and our city attorney, had a request from some of our local businesses to look at certain smoking, drug paraphernalia, right? And I know you're going to eventually bring that back to us. Well, the next thing I'm hearing, and don't freak out about this, is THC-infused products. And is it allowed in the city? Is it not allowed in the city? And if it's not allowed in the city, what do we have to do to make it legal? And I've actually literally earlier today had two additional just citizens that had reached out to me, because I guess they're going to, again, some neighboring communities to get the certain types of drinks now that have that in it, that aren't necessarily alcoholic or have alcohol in it. And I said, well, I'll ask the question, so that'll be something that we can take a look at. And it might be something, maybe it's a future workshop item or something like that. But I just wanted to throw that out there, as I've gotten now numerous, more than just a few, people asking about that. So, but that was it. That was it for me this evening. Any other comments, Council? So with that, I will mention that we do have a workshop which is open to the public, and it's the Amrize Nelson Mine Final Environmental Impact Statement. We are going to be moving to the training room to review it with staff, and it's kind of, we're the ones that get to just review it, and if we want to make comments, staff will kind of present the rest of it to us at that particular time. So with that, we'll adjourn in there. Everybody have a great week, and next Monday, go Vikings.